Hello, this is a video on how to play Chinese checkers. Now, Chinese checkers is a game that is a spin on checkers. Um, and you might be saying, hey, checkers is boring, or you can only play checkers with two players. I have so many friends, I want to play with all of them. Well, lucky for you, Chinese checkers is a game that can be played by up to six players. Um, or you could play just with two players. And so the history of Chinese checkers, um, it's not really it's similar to checkers, but it wasn't made solely as a variation of checkers. Nor did it originate in China. So it actually was not made in China. It is just called Chinese checkers. Um, and so the game is quite simple. It's actually a very simple game, and it's very fun. Now, the basic objective of the game is to get all of your pegs. Now, these are pegs, what I have my cursor on. Get them to the opposite triangle. So if I'm green, I want to get I want to get all 7, 8, 9, 10 of my pegs into these 10 spaces of the other triangle. If I'm black, I want to get all 10 of my black pegs into the white triangle. If I'm white, I want to get all 10 of my pegs in the black triangle. If I'm blue, I want to get all 10 of my pegs into the red triangle. If I'm red, I want to get all 10 of my pegs into the blue triangle. And if I'm yellow, I want to get all 10 of my pegs into the green triangle. So essentially, the objective is to get all 10 of your pegs into the opposing triangle. Now, how can you move? You can move your peg into an adjacent hole. So if I have a peg here and there's an empty hole next to it, I can move my peg. That's one way to move. Another way you can move is you can jump your peg. So notice how I click this peg right here. I can jump over this peg or this peg. So you are allowed to jump over pegs. So you can either move directly to the peg beside you if it's empty, so you can move to an empty space, or you can jump over a peg if there is an empty space on the other side. Notice how I can't just click this and jump over 5 pegs. You can only jump over a peg if there's an empty space on the other side. So, quick recap, what is the objective? The objective is to get all 10 of your colored pegs into the triangle directly opposite, perpendicular directly opposite from you. How can you do this? You can do this by moving a peg into an adjacent empty space or by hopping over a peg, provided there's an empty space on the other side. You can hop over pegs that are of your own color or pegs that are of a different color. Now, what people don't know is that while if you move to an adjacent empty space, you can move one space. If I'm jumping, let's say I jump here and there was another peg here with an empty space there, I could do multiple jumps. So if you can jump over multiple pegs and travel the board very fast, provided there's an empty space after each peg and a subsequent peg over which you can jump over. So the game is very basic. That's the basic rules. Just get to the other side, get to your other triangle by jumping over pegs, which you can do successively multiple times with no limit in a turn, or by moving to one adjacent empty space. The player who wins is the player who moves, the first player to move all of his or her pegs in the opposing triangle. And so the game is very simple, but a common misconception is that you're only concerned about the triangle opposite to you. You might say, okay, well, I'm green. I don't really care about these other triangles. I just want to get to the yellow triangle. But there is only one winner. That one winner is whoever gets all of the pegs into the opposing triangle first. Thus, you not only want to get your pegs to the opposing triangle, you want to make sure you do it quicker than every other player. So let's play. We're going to start by jumping our peg right there. Now it's the computer's turn. So everybody decided to jump here. I'll decide by moving there, jumping again. And notice no pegs get removed from the game. It's not like checkers where you capture a piece and you put it off the board. No, all 10 pegs stay on the board at all times. Another rule, you can enter your opponent's triangle if they're not directly opposite from you. So you might be saying, hey, I'm green, can I enter the white triangle? Can I enter the red triangle? Can I enter the black triangle? Can I enter the blue triangle? You can enter in, provided it is to jump out. So you can't just enter in and stay there, you have to enter in and then jump out as well. Now in this version, I guess it's letting you enter in, but in an actual version, you have to enter in. So if I entered in right there, there'd have to be another peg I could jump over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over this peg. And you might say, well, what if I just stay in my triangle the entire time? So my opponent can't get to it. Well, then you're not going to win the game. There's only one winner. If you stay in your triangle the entire time, the other opponents are going to move their pegs across the board. So what's the objective? Move your peg across the board to the opposite triangle through jumps, preferably, or by moving to adjacent holes as fast as you can. Be the first one to do it. So now we're going to notice how you can keep hopping. Blue just hopped so many times in succession. Look at red, just hopped so many times in succession. White just hopped so many times in succession. You can keep hopping if it gives you multiple moves that you can make in a row. So I'm actually going to try setting up a hop there. I'm eyeing a double, triple, quadruple hop. Let's see if it can work out here. Oh, white took my idea. No worries. We'll still try. We're going to go with a... Oh, I clicked the wrong move there. I should have clicked that one. Oh, that's okay. But you get the gist of it. So we'll do, hopefully we can do it on this next turn. So yes, let's go with a double hop maneuver. 1, 2, right there. And so the game's pretty simple. Once again, you just want to get all your pegs into the opposing triangle. And so we'll just play it out so you can kind of see how it plays. One more thing to note is this is played with 6 players right here. But if you only had 2 players, you would simply remove all the other extra pegs and just have 2 triangles opposing. If you had 3 players, you'd have 1, 2, 3 in a triangular format. But for 3 players, it is different. 3 players, you have to control, I believe, 2 pegs at a time. And so what you have to do is, so real quick, I just want to touch on the player configurations. So if it's 6 players, you can obviously you're going to have all 6 pegs filled up, but you could play as teams. Now, if you play as teams, the first team to have both team members get all their pegs in the opposing triangle wins. If you play with 4 players, it's the same except for 2 opposite corners are unused. Now, so 2 triangles are unused. If you play with 5 players, 1 triangle is unused, so 1 player just has to move their pegs in an empty triangle. It's typically not played with 5 players. If you play with 3 players, you could either just have 1, 2, 3, and then have 3 empty sets. So you just have to move your pegs into the empty triangle. Or you could have 6 pegs, all 6 colors, with 1 player controlling 2 sets of pegs each. So then 1 player would have to get both sets of pegs into the opposite triangle. And now that's for 3 players. And for 2 players, you could either just go 1-on-1 opposite, you could go 2-on-2, or you could have 2 players with 3-on-3, controlling 3 sets of pegs. You can really set up the board the way you want to play. And so that's pretty much just the configurations. So now we'll resume and we'll just finish this game, see how it goes. Now yellow, notice yellow got a peg in here already. So that is not good for us. That is not good at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get a peg there. And get a peg in there. Now what you could do is you could also be a peg that goes into an opposing triangle. If I'm a green peg and I know that black's about to win, I could go and put my peg in white's triangle, blocking black from getting that last spot. So that's kind of a strategy that you can use. I don't really know if I recommend it, but I would recommend it actually. That is quite a good strategy, but it's more of a high level strategy. And so when you're starting out, you don't really want to play like that. And so we're gonna get a peg all the way back in the corner. So we got a peg into yellow. We're still losing though. We're still losing. Um, Albeit not by that much. So yellow got another peg in here. And look how you can cover the entire board. Black just covered the entire board by jumping. Now I'm thinking we move this right here. Try to get some strategy here. And so there might be a best strategy here. Obviously I'm new to the game, so I don't know as much as an experienced player would know. But once you practice, and I guess look at other people play, you'll certainly be able to understand some of the more advanced strategies. Well, it looks like we're just going to finish this game out so you can see how it looks to win. Um, Now, this is going to be a nice jump there. We just jumped the entire board there. That was quite good. Now, it would be hard in real life. In the game, I'm shown all the options to where I could jump. In real life, you have to be smart enough to recognize, hey, I could jump here. So let me do it. Um, there isn't really much I could do here though. I am kind of, this middle area is kind of congested. And so that's the wrong player there. Um, let's see what we can do. We get all the way over there, so let's go for that maneuver there. That gets us closer to the yellow board. You might say, hey, I thought you wanted to only go directly to the yellow board. Getting over here still gets me closer to the yellow board. And so now, obviously, we're just going to try to finish the game out here. It is getting quite long, though. So if you guys get the gist of it, I might just end it soon. Because this game could go on for about 20 to 30 more minutes, depending on how this plays out. So yeah, it doesn't look like the game's ending anytime soon. And so I think I'm just going to end it there. But hopefully you are introduced to a new game. It has a lot of strategy. It can be played with a lot of players, so nobody is left out. And it is quite fun as well. It's different. It's sort of a different game. We don't really see a game like this that much. But that's it. Thank you.